Boram Lee stared at the decoded message on her screen, reading it 3 times to make sure she understood correctly. The words didn't change. The alien species that humanity had trusted for 15 years were planning their complete destruction. She immediately called her best analysts into the secure briefing room. The underground facility in Seoul hummed with activity, as intelligence officers worked around the clock to uncover more evidence. Every intercepted alien communication was run through new decryption programs. Every strange incident from the past year was reviewed with fresh eyes. Dr. Hye-Jin Choi arrived at the intelligence center within 2 hours of Boram's call. She brought encrypted data files containing everything she had discovered in the quantum communication networks. The 2 women had worked together before on security projects, but never on something this urgent. "Show me exactly what you found," Boram said, gesturing to the main display screen. Hye-Jin connected her datapad and began pulling up files. "The aliens have been using our own communication system to coordinate against us. They embedded their encrypted messages inside normal trade and diplomatic communications. Very clever, actually." The screen filled with charts showing message patterns over the past 8 months. Red lines connected Veltharan, Korix, and Zilani homeworlds. Blue dots marked human colonies and fleet positions. The pattern was clear. The aliens had been mapping every human settlement and defense installation in the galaxy. "How long have they been planning this?" Boram asked. "Based on the earliest coded messages I can find, at least 2 years, Hye-Jin replied. "Maybe longer. They started small, just gathering information about our technology and military capabilities. But 6 months ago, the tone changed completely." She brought up translated fragments of intercepted messages. Words like threat assessment, elimination, protocols, and coordinated strike appeared over and over. The aliens weren't just suspicious of humanity. They were actively preparing for war. Meanwhile, on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Tae-ho Kim continued his diplomatic duties while secretly gathering intelligence. He attended council meetings, trade negotiations, and social events, watching carefully for any sign of the conspiracy against humanity. The other founding species were being more careful now, but Tae-ho had learned to read alien body language over his years in the diplomatic service. The Veltharan Chancellor's forearms moved differently when he was lying. Korix delegates clicked their mandibles in specific patterns when discussing classified topics. The Zilani changed colors in subtle ways when they felt guilty or nervous. During a reception for new trade agreements, Tae-ho overheard a conversation between a Korix general and a Zilani admiral. They spoke in their own languages, probably, thinking no human could understand them. But Tae-ho had spent years learning alien dialects as part of his diplomatic training. The Korix general said something about final preparations and human celebration period. The Zilani admiral mentioned fleet positioning and simultaneous strikes. They were definitely planning some kind of coordinated military action during a time when human defenses would be weak. Tae-ho realized they were talking about the upcoming Terran New Year celebration. It was humanity's biggest holiday, celebrated on all human worlds and space stations. Tradition called for military vessels to return home so their crews could spend time with families. Defense fleets would be scattered and reduced during the 3-day festival. The timing made perfect sense for an attack. Human colonies would be vulnerable, and Earth's main defense forces would be spread thin across dozens of systems. The aliens had studied human culture carefully enough to identify the best moment to strike. Captain Dong Hyun-yoon commanded the deep space reconnaissance vessel, Seoul's Pride, one of humanity's most advanced scout ships. His mission was to patrol the empty regions between star systems, watching for pirate activity and mapping new trade routes. 3 days after Boram's discovery, Dong Hyun detected something that made his crew very nervous. Long-range sensors picked up massive energy signatures in a supposedly empty region of space, far from any inhabited systems. "Take us in for a closer look," Dong Hyun ordered his navigation officer. "But keep us stealthed and ready to jump to faster-than-light travel at the first sign of trouble." The Seoul's Pride moved carefully through the dark space between stars, using passive sensors to avoid detection. What they found there shocked them all. Hundreds of alien warships were gathered in formation, hidden from normal space traffic by the gravity shadows of dead planets. The fleet was enormous, more ships than most species used for their entire military forces. Donghyun recognized Valtharan dreadnoughts, Korix battlecruisers, and Zalani carrier vessels. Ship designs from at least 6 other Council species were also present. "Captain," his sensor officer whispered, "I'm reading over 800 vessels total. This isn't a patrol fleet or a training exercise, this is an invasion armada." Donghyun's communications officer was already recording everything, capturing detailed scans of each ship type and formation pattern. The data would be invaluable for understanding the aliens' battle plans and capabilities. "Sir, they're conducting formation drills," the tactical officer reported. "Looks like they're practicing coordinated strikes on multiple targets. The attack pattern suggests they're planning to hit several different systems at the same time." The Soul's Pride stayed hidden for 6 hours, gathering as much intelligence as possible. The alien fleet was clearly preparing for the largest military operation in galactic history. Every ship was at full combat readiness, loaded with weapons and troops. Most disturbing of all, the fleet's movements suggested they were planning to attack human colonies first, then move on Earth itself. The formation patterns and supply ship positions indicated a campaign designed to completely eliminate human presence in the galaxy. Back on Earth, Boram's intelligence teams worked frantically to piece together the full scope of the alien conspiracy. More coded messages were decoded every hour, revealing additional details about the planned attack. The assault would begin during the Terran New Year celebration in just 3 weeks. Multiple alien fleets would strike human colonies simultaneously, overwhelming local defenses before Earth could respond. The attacks were timed to prevent human forces from supporting each other or coordinating a defense. "They've been planning this for years," Boram told Admiral Woo Jin Park during an emergency video conference. "Every trade meeting, every diplomatic exchange, every joint military exercise, they were gathering intelligence about our capabilities and weaknesses." Woo Jin studied the tactical analysis on his screen. "This is a textbook extermination campaign. They're not planning to conquer human worlds. They want to destroy us completely. No prisoners, no negotiations, no mercy." Dr. Hye Jin presented her analysis of the aliens' technology advantages. "They outnumber our fleets by at least 5 to 1. Their weapons are roughly equal to ours in most categories, but they have more ships and more experience with large-scale warfare." The situation looked hopeless. Humanity had built a respectable space navy over the past 15 years, but it was designed to protect trade routes and defend against pirates. The human military had never prepared for a war against the combined forces of 6 major galactic powers. "There is one advantage we might have," Hye Jin said quietly. "They think we don't know about their plan. They expect to catch us completely, by surprise." Boram nodded. "And they don't know about our secret defense projects. The weapons and systems you've been developing in the mountain laboratories are still classified above their intelligence gathering level." Admiral Woo Jin leaned forward in his chair. "What exactly are we talking about? What kind of secret weapons?" Hye Jin looked around the secure conference room before answering. "Technologies that we developed for theoretical scenarios, including the possibility of betrayal by the Council, weapons that could strike across vast distances instantly, defense systems that could protect entire planets, and some other things that might surprise our alien friends." "How long would it take to deploy these systems?" Boram asked. "Most of them are already built and stored in hidden facilities," Hye Jin replied. "We just never told anyone about them, including most of our own government. We could have everything operational within 2 weeks if we start immediately." The 3 leaders looked at each other across the video screens. Humanity faced the greatest threat in its history, but they might have just enough time to prepare a response that could save their species. "We need to brief the Prime Minister immediately," Boram said. "And we need to do it without alerting the aliens that we know about their plan." Admiral Woo Jin was already making notes about fleet deployments. "I can start moving our ships into better defensive positions under the cover of routine training exercises. The aliens won't suspect anything if we're careful." Dr. Hye Jin began calculating deployment schedules for her secret weapons. "I'll need authorization to begin full production of our advanced systems, and we'll need to coordinate with our deep space installations to prepare the surprise defenses. As the three ended their conference call, each knew that the next 3 weeks would determine whether humanity survived its first real test in the galactic community. Taeho Kim stood in the massive assembly hall on Nexus Prime, watching alien delegates from dozens of worlds argue about trade routes. The ceiling stretched so high above him that clouds formed near the top. Holographic displays showed star maps and shipping lanes that connected thousands of planets across the galaxy. 15 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Council. Taeho remembered that day clearly. He was just a young diplomat then, watching in wonder as humanity took its first steps into a larger universe. Now he served as Earth's main representative, speaking for 8 billion humans and their growing colonies. The council meeting dragged on for hours. The Veltharan Chancellor, a tall blue creature with 4 arms, spoke in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. The Corex delegate made clicking sounds that the translation device turned into words about mineral rights. The Zelani representative glowed different colors as it shared concerns about pirate attacks. Taeho waited patiently for his turn to speak. He had learned to be careful in these meetings. One wrong word could affect trade deals worth billions of credits. One misunderstood gesture could spark conflicts between worlds. Back on Earth, Boram Lee sat in her office deep underground in Seoul. The walls around her were lined with screens showing data streams from across the galaxy. As chief of the Human Intelligence Division, she watched everything that happened in council space. Her job was to keep humanity safe by knowing what others were planning. Something felt wrong lately. Boram had spent 20 years reading alien communication patterns. She knew when species were being honest and when they were hiding something. For the past 6 months, the founding members of the council had been acting strange. The Veltharans, Corex and Zelani had built the Galactic Council 300 years ago. They were the most powerful species, with the biggest fleets in the richest worlds. They had welcomed humanity warmly when Earth proved it could build quantum communication networks better than anyone else. Those networks now connected every world in council space. Messages that once took months to travel between stars now arrived in seconds. Trade boomed. Peace seemed secure. Humanity had given the galaxy a gift that changed everything. But lately, the founding species had been meeting. Without the newer members, Boram's agents reported closed-door sessions on Veltharan ships. Encrypted messages flowed between their homeworlds using channels that bypassed human networks. When her people tried to learn more, they found only silence. In the assembly hall, Taeho finally got his chance to speak. He walked to the center podium, his footsteps echoing in the vast space. Around him, hundreds of alien eyes watched and waited. Honored delegates, Taeho began, his voice carrying clearly through the translation. Systems. Earth wishes to discuss security concerns along the Outer Rim trade routes. Our merchants report increased pirate activity near the Kepler sectors. The Veltharan Chancellor's 4 arms moved in what humans had learned meant dismissal. Ambassador Kim, these concerns have been noted. The Council's security forces are adequate for current needs. Taeho felt surprised by the cold response. Usually the Chancellor listened carefully to human suggestions. The Veltharans had always praised humanity's practical thinking. With respect, Chancellor, 3 human cargo ships have been attacked this month alone. We could provide additional patrol vessels to help secure those routes. A Corex delegate made harsh clicking sounds. The translator said, human ships should avoid dangerous areas if they cannot protect themselves. Murmurs spread through the hall. Other newer species looked uncomfortable. The Altarians, who had joined the council just 5 years after humanity, shifted nervously in their seats. The crystalline Vorthon delegates pulsed with worried orange light. Taeho kept his voice calm and diplomatic. We simply want to work together to keep all council members safe. Isn't that what we all want? The matter is closed, the Chancellor said firmly. Next agenda item. Later, in his quarters on Nexus Prime, Taeho sent an encrypted message back to Earth. He told Boram about the strange meeting and the cold treatment he had received. Something was definitely changing in how the founding species treated humanity. Boram read the message in her underground office. She pulled up files on recent council activities and began looking for patterns. What she found made her stomach feel cold. Human trade ships were being inspected at checkpoints 3 times more often than other species' vessels. The inspections found nothing wrong, but they caused delays that cost money and time. When human diplomats asked about it, they were told it was random security procedures. Several human colonies had reported strange ships near their systems. The vessels looked like council survey craft, but when colonists asked about them, local council offices said no surveys were scheduled. The ships always left before anyone could get close enough for detailed scans. Most troubling of all, BORAM's sources reported that the 3 founding species had been sharing data about human military capabilities. They were asking detailed questions about Earth's defense fleets and colony protection systems. On the far side of the galaxy, Admiral Wu Jin Park commanded humanity's newest defense station near the Centauri colonies. He was a career military officer who had helped design Earth's space defense plans. His job was to protect human settlements from pirates, hostile aliens, or natural disasters. Wu Jin had noticed the survey ships too. His long-range sensors had tracked at least 6 unknown vessels in the past month. They stayed far away, but seemed to be mapping human positions and defenses. When he sent fighters to investigate, the ships jumped to faster-than-light travel and disappeared. The admiral was no politician, but he understood strategy. Someone was gathering intelligence about human weaknesses. In his experience, that usually meant someone was planning an attack. Back on Earth, Dr. Haijin Choi worked in a secret laboratory beneath the Korean mountains. She led humanity's most advanced technology projects, developing new weapons and defenses that might be needed someday. Most humans didn't know her work existed. The Council certainly didn't know about it. Jin had been worried about humanity's position in the galaxy since the day they joined the Council. Humans were newcomers, in a universe full of species that had been fighting each other for thousands of years. She believed in preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. Her current project involved quantum communication systems that could work even if the main galactic network was destroyed. She had also been developing new types of sensors that could detect hidden alien ships and weapons that could strike across vast distances instantly. Most of her colleagues thought she was being too paranoid. The Council had welcomed humanity warmly. Trade was good. Peace seemed secure. Why worry about conflicts that might never happen? But Jin remembered history lessons about what happened when advanced civilizations met less advanced ones. The results were usually bad for the weaker side. She refused to let humanity be caught unprepared if the galaxy's friendly attitude ever changed. BORAM's message about the strange council behavior confirmed Jin's worst fears. She immediately began checking her own intelligence networks, looking for any signs of threat to human interests. What she found in the quantum communication logs made her blood run cold. Hidden in the massive data streams that flowed through humanity's own networks were encrypted alien messages. Someone had been using Earth's communication system to coordinate secret activities. The messages were heavily coded, but Jin's computers could detect patterns. Words like human problem and solution protocols appeared frequently. References to fleet movements and timing suggested something big was being planned. Jin worked through the night, trying to break the encryption. As dawn broke over the Korean mountains, she finally succeeded in decoding part of a message between Veltharan and Korik's commanders. The partial translation made her hands shake as she read it. Human expansion rate exceeds projections. Recommend acceleration of elimination timeline. Suggest coordination during their celebration period when fleets dispersed. Humanity's new friends were planning to destroy them completely. Admiral Wu Jin Park received the emergency recall order while inspecting defense platforms near the Centauri colonies. Within 12 hours, he was aboard a high-speed transport heading back to Earth. The message had been brief, but clear. Return immediately for Alpha Priority Briefing. Bring all classified defense protocols. The underground briefing room beneath the Korean mountains contained the most powerful people in human government. Prime Minister Sungmin Kang sat at the head of the table, flanked by military commanders and intelligence chiefs. The walls were lined with screens showing real-time data from across the galaxy. BORAM Lee presented the evidence first. Decoded alien communications, fleet movement patterns, and intelligence reports painted a clear picture of the coming attack. The assembled leaders listened in stunned silence as she explained how humanity's trusted allies had been planning their extinction for over 2 years. The assault will begin in 18 days, Boram concluded. During our New Year celebration, when our fleets are dispersed for the holiday, they expect to destroy our colonies before we can mount any coordinated defense. Prime Minister Kang's face remained calm, but his hands gripped the table edge tightly. What are our options? Can we appeal to neutral species in the Council? Request mediation? Admiral Wu Jin shook his head. Sir, this isn't a diplomatic dispute, this is a planned genocide. The aliens involved represent over 60% of Council military power. Any neutral species would be too afraid to help us. Dr. Hyojin Choi had been quiet during the intelligence briefing, but now she leaned forward. Prime Minister, there is something you need to know about humanity's actual military capabilities. Something that even most people in this room don't know about. She activated a holographic projector in the center of the table. Images of sleek weapons and advanced technology filled the air above them. For the past 12 years, I've been leading development of theoretical defense systems, weapons designed for scenarios that we hoped would never happen. The Prime Minister studied the rotating holographic displays. Theoretical weapons? Are they functional? More than functional. Sir, they're already built and deployed in hidden facilities throughout human space. We've been preparing for this possibility since the day we joined the Galactic Council. Hyojin brought up images of manufacturing facilities hidden inside asteroids and hollow moons. Production centers that had been building advanced weapons. For over a decade, all in complete secrecy. Show them the nanomachine swarms, said Yun-Soo Han, director of Humanity's Black Site Research Division. She had been so classified that most government officials didn't know she existed until today. The holographic display changed to show microscopic machines that looked like tiny spiders made of metal and crystal. Self-replicating nanomachines, capable of dismantling any known material, Hyojin explained. They can be deployed across vast distances and programmed to target specific alien technologies. Admiral Wu Jin leaned closer to examine the display. How do they work? Each nanomachine can create copies of itself using raw materials from its target. A single deployment could multiply into billions of units within hours. They're designed to seek out and dismantle alien ship systems, weapons, and communication networks. The next display showed torpedo-shaped devices that seemed to bend space around themselves. Quantum tunnel bombs, Yun-Soo said. They can strike targets anywhere in the galaxy instantly, bypassing all known defensive systems. Prime Minister Kang looked amazed and troubled at the same time. How many of these weapons do we have? Enough to level every major alien military installation in Council space, Hyojin replied quietly. But that's not the most impressive part of our preparations. She activated a new display showing biological research facilities. Charts of alien DNA, protein structures, and cellular systems covered the screens. We've been studying the biological makeup of every Council species for years. We know their weaknesses, their immune systems, their genetic vulnerabilities. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Humanity had developed biological weapons specifically designed to target each alien species while leaving humans completely unharmed. We could deploy airborne agents that would be fatal to Valtherans but harmless to every other species in the galaxy, Yun-Soo explained. Coric-specific viruses that would shut down their nervous systems. Zelani cellular disruptors that would cause their energy-based biology to fail. Admiral Wu Jin whistled softly. This is beyond anything I imagined. How did you hide all this development from Council intelligence services? Multiple layers of security and misdirection, Boram answered. The facilities are disguised as mining operations, research stations, and commercial manufacturing. All the scientists involved believe they're working on different projects. Only a few people knew the real purpose. Prime Minister Kang stood and walked to one of the wall screens showing the hidden fleet positions. What about our naval capabilities? Can we match the alien fleets in direct combat? That's the best part, Admiral Wu Jin said, with a grim smile. Show them the Ghost Fleet. The holographic display changed to show massive warships unlike anything in the official human navy. These vessels were larger, more heavily armed and equipped with technology that made them nearly invisible to conventional sensors. 200 unmanned dreadnoughts, positioned throughout the galaxy, Hyejin explained. Each one is controlled by advanced artificial intelligence and armed with our most powerful weapons. They've been waiting in hidden positions for over 5 years. The Ghost Fleet ships were automated and required no human crews. They could operate independently or coordinate with each other in complex battle formations. Most importantly, the aliens had no idea they existed. The alien fleets will find themselves outnumbered and outgunned, Admiral Wu Jin continued, but only after they commit to their attack. We need them to believe they have the advantage until the moment we reveal our true capabilities. Communications. Specialist G1 Seo had been reviewing the intelligence data while the others discussed weapons. Now she looked up from her data pad with a concerned expression. There's one major problem with our response plan, G1 said. The aliens are planning to attack during our New Year celebration. But that also means millions of human civilians will be traveling between colonies. If we engage in full-scale warfare, innocent people will be caught in the crossfire. Prime, Minister Kang nodded grimly. That's exactly why we need to end this conflict as quickly as possible. The longer it lasts, the more civilians will be at risk. Yunsu brought up deployment schedules on the main screen. We can have all systems fully operational in 15 days. The nanomachine swarms can be pre-positioned near alien fleet locations. The quantum tunnel bombs can be programmed with target coordinates. The biological agents can be loaded into delivery systems and prepared for simultaneous release. What about our own people? The Prime Minister asked. Do we evacuate the colonies? Large-scale evacuations would alert the aliens that we know about their plan, Boram pointed out. But we can quietly move essential personnel and key families to secure locations under the cover of routine transfers. Admiral Wu Jin was already planning fleet movements. I can redeploy our official navy to positions that look defensive, but actually optimize our counterattack capability. The aliens will see us preparing for their assault, which fits their expectations. Dr. Hyejin pulled up a timeline showing the coordination of all systems. The key is timing. We need to let the aliens begin their attack so we have legal justification for our response. But we also need to minimize damage to our own forces and civilians. How long after they begin attacking can we neutralize their fleets? The Prime Minister asked. With full deployment of all our secret weapons, we can effectively end their military capability within 6 hours, Yunsu replied. The nanomachine swarms will disable their ships. The quantum bombs will destroy their major installations. The biological agents will incapacitate their command structures. Ji-won looked up from her communication planning. We should also prepare a galaxy-wide broadcast explaining our response. Other council species need to understand that we're defending ourselves, not starting a war of conquest. The meeting continued for several more hours as detailed plans were refined and contingencies prepared. By the end, humanity had a comprehensive strategy for not just surviving the alien attack, but for completely reversing the balance of power in the galaxy. As the assembled leaders prepared to leave and begin their preparations, Prime Minister Kang made one final statement that would guide humanity's response to the coming crisis. For 15 years, we've played the role of naive newcomers who were grateful for acceptance into galactic civilization. We've been peaceful, cooperative, and generous with our technology and friendship. But our enemies made one critical mistake. They assumed our peaceful nature meant we were weak and unprepared. He looked around the room at the faces of humanity's most capable leaders. They're about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being incapable of war. We chose to be peaceful. We were never incapable of being the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The countdown to humanity's first galactic war had begun. The first shots of the Galactic War were fired exactly when humanity's intelligence services predicted they would be. Valtheran battlecruisers emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the new Terra system, their weapons already, charging for bombardment of the human colony below. Admiral Hyunwoo Lim watched the alien ships appear on his tactical displays from the Sol Defense Grid Command Center. The massive space fortress had been hidden in the asteroid belt for 8 years, disguised as a mining operation. Now its true purpose was revealed as weapon systems that could destroy entire fleets came online. Alien fleet composition matches. Our projections exactly, his tactical officer reported. 47 Veilthuran ships, 32 Corax vessels, and 21 Zilani carriers. They're moving into attack formation around New Terra. The aliens had chosen their first target. Well, New Terra was one of humanity's most important agricultural colonies, with over 2 million civilian inhabitants. Its destruction would be both a practical blow to human food production and a psychological victory that proved humanity could not protect its people. They had made one critical error. They assumed New Terra would be defended only by the small patrol fleet visible on long-range sensors. Activate the defense grid, Admiral Hyunwoo ordered. Show them what a real human colony defense system looks like. New Terra's surface erupted with energy as hidden installations revealed themselves. Massive shield generators created protective barriers around the entire planet. Orbital weapons platforms that had been disguised as communication satellites began targeting the approaching alien fleet. The colony that had appeared defenseless suddenly bristled with enough firepower to destroy a small armada. But the real surprise came from space itself. Captain Myung-ho Jang's ghost fleet dreadnought Incheon's Wrath appeared behind the alien formation, its cloaking system deactivating as its weapons charged. Within seconds, 19 more unmanned warships materialized around the alien fleet, surrounding them completely. The Veilthuran fleet commander's panic transmission was intercepted by human intelligence. How did they hide an entire battle fleet? Our sensors showed nothing but empty space. The answer came in the form of quantum tunnel bombs that materialized inside the alien ship's shield systems. Dr. Hai-Jin Choi's weapons ignored conventional defenses completely, appearing directly within enemy vessels and detonating with the force of small stars. 8 alien ships were destroyed in the first wave of attacks. The survivors found their systems failing as nanomachine swarms began dismantling their technology from within. Weapons went offline, shields collapsed, and life support systems began shutting down as billions of microscopic machines consumed everything they touched. On the Corax flagship, the ship's commander tried to coordinate a response, but his voice was silenced as Dr. Soo-Jin Kim's biological weapons took effect. The airborne agent was completely harmless to humans, but it shut down the Corax nervous system within minutes of exposure. Similar agents deployed against the other alien species left their crews incapacitated but alive. The Battle of New Terra lasted exactly 17 minutes. When it ended, the entire alien attack fleet had been either destroyed or captured. Not a single human ship had been lost, and the colony's civilian population had never been in real danger. But New Terra was only one of 12 systems under simultaneous attack. Across human space, the same pattern repeated as alien fleets discovered that their intelligence about human defenses had been completely wrong. General Young-Suk Park commanded the ground forces on New Terra, but her troops never fired a shot. The alien landing craft that had launched from the carrier ships were destroyed by orbital defenses before they could reach the planet's surface. All alien ground forces eliminated, she reported to the command center. Colony population secure. No civilian casualties reported. Similar reports came in from every attacked system. The aliens had planned their assault assuming human colonies would be lightly defended and easily overwhelmed. Instead, they found defense networks that had been prepared for years, supported by fleets they never knew existed, and weapons they couldn't understand. Pilot Jae-hyun flew humanity's prototype fighter craft through the wreckage of the alien fleet near Mars. His mission was to rescue alien survivors and take prisoners for intelligence purposes. The new fighter was faster and more maneuverable than anything the aliens had ever seen, but he used it for mercy missions rather than additional destruction. Control, I've located survivors on the Zilani carrier Bright Harmony, he reported. Their life support is failing, but I can get rescue pods to them. This was humanity's true masterstroke. They had planned not just to defeat the alien attack, but to do it in a way that minimized casualties and demonstrated their superior technology and moral principles. Enemy fleets were disabled, rather than destroyed when possible. Crews were incapacitated rather than killed. The message was clear. Humanity could have chosen genocide but chose restraint instead. The galactic response to humanity's victories was swift and dramatic. Within hours of the first battles, 12 more species sent urgent diplomatic messages requesting immediate peace negotiations. The Thakari government formally withdrew from the Galactic Council and requested a separate alliance with humanity. On the Valtharan homeworld, Chancellor Zethval watched in horror as reports came in from the failed attack fleets. Every single assault force had been defeated within hours. Hundreds of ships had been lost. Thousands of crew members were missing or captured, and humanity had demonstrated military technology decades ahead of anything in the Council's arsenals. Seeing Korik's High Command was in complete chaos as their communication networks failed galaxy-wide. Humanity's nanomachine swarms had infiltrated their quantum communication systems, leaving their military forces unable to coordinate any response to the human counterattack. Zilani space was paralyzed as the energy-based species discovered that humanity's biological weapons could target their unique physiology with devastating precision. Their military leadership was completely incapacitated, unable to even surrender properly. But humanity's response was not limited to military action. While the battles raged in space, human intelligence teams activated sleeper networks that had been placed throughout alien space over the past decade. Critical infrastructure systems began failing on dozens of worlds as hidden programs took effect. Power grids shut down on military installations. Communication networks crashed across entire star systems. Transportation hubs found their control systems corrupted by viruses specifically designed for alien technology. Humanity demonstrated that they could cripple enemy civilizations without firing a single additional shot. The scope of human preparation became clear as the hours passed. Every aspect of the alien attack had been anticipated and countered. Every weakness in their technology had been identified and exploited. Every possible response had been planned for and defeated before it could be implemented. Boram Lee coordinated the intelligence warfare from her command center, watching as alien governments struggled to understand how completely they had been outmaneuvered. The Koriks are requesting immediate ceasefire negotiations, her communications officer reported. The Zilani government is asking for humanitarian assistance for their incapacitated leadership. The Valtharans are trying to activate their planetary defense systems, but their control networks have been compromised. Within 72 hours of the first alien attack, the war was effectively over. The three founding species of the Galactic Council had lost most of their military capabilities. Their allies had either surrendered or switched sides. Their homeworld defense systems had been neutralized by human cyber warfare. The Galactic Council dissolved when it became clear that the founding members could no longer enforce their authority. Several species immediately requested membership in a new organization that humanity began forming. One based on genuine cooperation rather than hidden dominance. Ambassador Taeho Kim found himself in an office on Nexus Prime that had once belonged to the Valtharan Chancellor. The massive space station was now under human administration, serving as the capital of what news services were calling the Terran hegemony. The transformation had been remarkably smooth. Most alien civilians had experienced no disruption to their daily lives. Trade continued, communication networks operated normally, and local governments remained in place. The only change was that humanity now set policy for interstellar relations rather than the former council leadership. Director D. In-ho Choi of the new Terran hegemony met with representatives from dozens of species who wanted to join the reformed galactic government. The application process was simple: demonstrate peaceful intentions and contribute something valuable to the galactic community. "We're not interested in ruling through fear," In-ho explained to a delegation of Altarian diplomats. "We want partners, not subjects. But we also want to make sure that no species ever again tries to solve political problems through genocide." Ambassador Mi-young Song worked with former council species to establish new trade agreements and mutual defense pacts. Communications specialist Ji-won Seo sat in the secure broadcast center deep beneath Seoul, surrounded by the most advanced transmission equipment in human space. In 3 minutes, she would send a message that would change the galaxy forever. Her hands remained steady on the controls, but her heart pounded as she thought about the consequences of what she was about to do. 15 days of frantic preparation had transformed humanity from apparent victims into predators ready to strike. Across human space, secret weapons had been activated, hidden fleets had moved into position, and defensive systems had been armed. The aliens still believed they were about to destroy an unsuspecting and defenseless species. They were wrong. Prime Minister Sungmin Kang's voice came through Ji-won's earpiece. All systems are ready. Our fleets are in position. The alien attack force is 3 days out from their planned strike. It's time to let them know we're not as helpless as they think. Ji-won nodded and activated the galaxy-wide broadcast system. Every communication relay, every trade station, every diplomatic facility would receive the message simultaneously. There would be no way to stop it or block it once transmission began. Broadcasting in 10 seconds, she announced to the command center. The transmission began exactly on schedule. Ji-won's carefully prepared message went out across the quantum communication network that humanity had built, reaching every corner of council space in seconds. Her voice was calm and clear as she delivered the warning that would echo through galactic history. To all species of the Galactic Council, we know. We have always known. We gave you trust and you chose betrayal. We gave you friendship and you chose genocide. We are not the naive species you believed us to be. We are humanity, and we have prepared for this day. You have 1 hour to recall your fleets and stand down. If you do not, run. The message continued with detailed intelligence that proved humanity had been monitoring the conspiracy from the beginning. Fleet positions, attack plans, communication intercepts, and personal information about alien military commanders filled the broadcast. Every species in the galaxy learned that humanity's intelligence network was far more advanced than anyone had imagined. On Nexus Prime, Ambassador Tae-ho Kim delivered his final diplomatic statement to the stunned Galactic Council. The assembly hall erupted in chaos as delegates realized their secret plans had been completely exposed. For 15 years, humanity has served this council with honor and dedication, Tae-ho said, his voice cutting through the alien voices arguing around him. We shared our greatest technological achievement, the quantum communication network that binds this galaxy together. We opened our worlds to trade and friendship. We asked only for the same respect and cooperation we offered to others. The Beltheran Chancellor's forearms gestured frantically as he tried to restore order to the session. Korix delegates clicked angrily, while Zalani representatives flashed angry red and orange colors. The newer council members looked terrified, realizing they were caught between two opposing forces. Tae-ho continued speaking despite the chaos. You taught us that in the galaxy only strength matters. You showed us that peaceful species are seen as prey by those who hunger for power. Today you will learn what human strength truly means. He placed a data pad on the speaker's podium and activated a holographic display that filled the center of the assembly hall. Images of the secret alien fleet appeared, along with detailed analysis of their weapons, ships, and battle plans. We know about the 800 warships hidden in the Kepler Dark Zone. We know about the coordinated strike planned for our New Year celebration. We know about the extermination protocols you've developed to eliminate every human in the galaxy. Gasps and shocked voices echoed through the hall as the evidence was displayed for all to see. Several of the newer species delegates began recording the presentation, knowing they would need proof of what they had witnessed. But what you don't know, Tae-ho said, his voice growing harder, is what humanity has been preparing while you plotted our destruction. The holographic display changed to show images of humanity's secret weapons, nanomachine swarms, quantum tunnel bombs, biological weapons, and the ghost fleet of unmanned dreadnoughts. The assembled aliens stared in stunned silence as they realized how completely they had underestimated their intended victims. Captain Myung-ho Jang stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship dreadnought Inchin's Wrath, watching as alien fleets began receiving the warning message. His ship was one of the ghost fleet vessels that had been hidden for years, waiting for this moment. Sir, we're detecting panic communications from the alien fleet formations, his communications officer reported. Multiple species are requesting new orders from their homeworlds. Myung-ho studied the tactical displays showing alien fleet positions throughout the galaxy. Some ships were already beginning to withdraw from their attack formations, but others were holding position while their commanders decided how to respond. "What about the main attack fleet in the Kepler Dark Zone?" he asked. "Still maintaining formation, sir. Looks like the Valtharan commanders are trying to convince the other species to continue with the original plan." Dr. Soo-Jin Kim monitored the biological weapons deployment from her laboratory ship in the outer solar system. The xenobiologist had spent years developing agents that could target specific alien species while leaving all other life forms completely unharmed. "Delivery systems are armed and ready," she reported to the command center. "We can deploy to any alien homeworld within 6 hours of authorization. The biological agents will incapacitate military command structures without harming civilian populations." The warning message had included samples of these biological agents, not enough to cause harm, but enough to prove that humanity could deliver them anywhere in the galaxy. Alien medical facilities were probably analyzing the samples right now, discovering that they had no defense against weapons designed specifically for their biology. On the bridge of the Soul's Pride, Captain Dong-Hyun Yoon continued monitoring the hidden alien fleet. The massive armada was in chaos as commanders tried to decide whether to continue their planned attack or retreat to safety. "Captain, I'm reading energy spikes from the Valtharan command ship," his sensor officer reported. "Looks like they're preparing to address the entire fleet." The alien transmission was broadcast on open frequencies, making it easy for Dong-Hyun to intercept and record. The Valtharan fleet commander's translated voice came through the speakers with a mixture of anger and determination. "Do not be deceived by human propaganda. Their warnings are desperate attempts to avoid their inevitable destruction. We outnumber them 5-1. Our combined fleets are the most powerful military force in galactic history. One species cannot stand against the united will of the Council's founding members." The transmission continued for several minutes, trying to convince the various alien fleets to maintain their attack formation. Some species seemed persuaded by the Valtharan arguments, while others remained uncertain about the wisdom of continuing their assault. Back on Earth, Prime Minister Sung-Min Kang monitored the responses to humanity's warning from the secure command bunker. Intelligence reports showed that 3 species had already begun withdrawing their fleets from the planned attack. The Thakari and Venturian governments had sent diplomatic messages expressing their desire to negotiate a peaceful resolution. But the 3 founding species, Valtharans, Koriks, and Zelani, were refusing to back down. Their combined fleet still represented the largest military threat humanity had ever faced. "They're calling our bluff," Admiral Woo-Jin Park reported from his command ship. "The main alien force is maintaining attack formation and continuing toward our colonies." Dr. Hye-Jin Choi's voice came through the communication system from her hidden weapons facility. "All secret systems remain armed and ready. We can begin the counterattack as soon as they commit to their assault." The Prime Minister looked at the tactical displays showing both human and alien fleet positions. In less than 72 hours, the 2 forces would clash in what might be the largest space battle in galactic history. "Continue monitoring all alien communications," he ordered. "I want to know the moment they begin their final approach to human space. We'll give them every opportunity to withdraw peacefully." Boram Lee's intelligence teams worked around the clock to analyze alien responses to the warning. Most species seemed genuinely shocked to learn about the planned attack. Several governments had begun internal investigations to discover how their military forces had been committed to the operation without proper authorization. The founding species kept the other participants largely in the dark, Boram reported to the command staff. Many of them thought they were joining a limited military exercise, not a genocidal campaign. This information was encouraging, suggesting that humanity's response might fracture the alien alliance. But the 3 most powerful species remained, committed to their original plan. As the hour deadline mentioned in the warning message approached, Jiwon Seo prepared for a second broadcast. This one would be much shorter, and directed specifically at the species that had chosen to continue their attack. "This is humanity's final message to the Valtharan, Koriks, and Zelani fleets," she transmitted across the galaxy.